The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody to another exciting D-Link webinar. We're back from our pre-season training break, the end of season one, the cliffhanger that we left you all on, but we're now back refreshed and raring to go. With me as always is our technical pre-sales engineer, Craig.
Hi everybody.
Oh, Craig Kirby, as I should say. Sorry, Craig, I've reduced you to one name today. After we've done so many of these, I think we're on first name basis now with our audience, though, aren't we? So I think that's okay.
Absolutely.
So,
sorry, Alan. Just one thing. I think we've got the screen showing just the PowerPoint, not the full screen. Can you just have a check on that?
Let me check that before we make a mistake. Yes, you're right there. Screen too clean. It should be showing screen too clean. Is that better, Craig? I've just updated it.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Well, now you can see in full screen goodness. How to install Nucleus is why we're here today, and we're going to be talking through the Nucleus solutions and where we see a good fit for them, and with which industries we see a good fit for the cloud and the Connect solutions. But we're also going to look at a few examples of how to lay out APs to get a great coverage. We're going to talk about the new outdoor. Sorry, I'll just let that big truck go past. They're still working from home, as you can hear. Yeah, we'll be talking about the new outdoor APs in a little bit more depth as we go through. So before we start, as this is season 2, we have extended our abilities and what we do on the webinar. So we've got a little poll, and I'm just going to press the launch button here. So hopefully now you should be able to see the poll on your screen. So what we'd kind of like to know is where you are with Nucleus. Have you used Nucleus before? Have you used cloud management before, or is this kind of your first foray into the world of cloud management, and you're just here to learn about Nucleus and gather a little bit more information on that? As another large truck goes past. Sorry about that. A bit more noise around here than normal. Okay, we've got some answers in, and so most people on the call have used Nucleus before, which is absolutely great. And I think a few people have used other cloud managed solutions, but not Nucleus. So we're kind of hoping today that we can persuade you that Nucleus is going to be the best solution for you going forward. And if you did want more information after the webinar, we can arrange a training session and go through it in a bit more detail with you. So I'm going to close the poll now. Thanks very much to everyone for voting on that. It's very useful information for us. And we're going to get moving. So as I mentioned briefly, Nucleus Cloud and Nucleus Connect. There's obviously advantages for Nucleus Cloud and advantages for Nucleus Connect, dependent on the situation of your business and potentially the sector that you operate in. What we'll be talking through later on is how we think that Nucleus Cloud is a fantastic solution for hospitality and retail, and maybe some of the advantages that Nucleus Cloud provides that maybe end up costing a little bit more money in terms of cloud licensing. Maybe that's something that for SME offices and business workplaces, Nucleus Connect would be the better option. If you have an existing network of APs and they're not wireless G, maybe Nucleus Connect is the best option for you guys, and just investing in a Nucleus hub would give you a massive boost on your network speed, and having a dedicated unit to manage that network. Is there anything you want to add on here, Craig?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just a case of letting everybody know that we have 2 large portfolios that we've split our wireless into. And with Nucleus Cloud, you're not It's not always going to be the case that you don't have a technical team. Sometimes it's just a case of making it really easier. If on that MSP market, if you're someone that does multiple tenancies, multiple installs, or that hospitality sector, we'll go into that in a moment, but that kind of area, then Nucleus Cloud is really good for you because it's going to take that amount of time that you're doing all these installs and cut that drastically. Won't put a figure on it, but everybody's going to be different, but it really can help speed up the installation process. And likewise, as much as we talk about MSPs and Nucleus Cloud, that doesn't mean that Nucleus Connect isn't for you if you're that MSP market as well, because you can do multi-tenancy, multi-site management. It just means that you have to sort of have that implementation and infrastructure to do things yourself. So I know many people out there that are reselling Wi-Fi into large properties and large sites, and what they do is they host it on virtual boxes and things like that. So if you've got your own technical team and you are an MSP, yes, Nucleus Cloud is really good for you. Don't rule out Nucleus Connect. It's really worth having a look and investigating both of those sides.
Yeah, and not paying for unnecessary features that you're not going to use can be a great saving to your business. There's obviously with the current situation going on now, a lot of cost saving going on in businesses. So making sure you've got that best solution and the most cost effective. That's a great idea before you pick your networking solution of choice. So a few of the differences there that we briefly touched on, just to bring them all up on the screen there, is the Nucleus Cloud is obviously cloud network managed, whereas the Nucleus Connect is more of a desktop based managed network. But as I mentioned, you can look at the DNH100, which is the Nucleus Hub. So rather than having a a desktop dedicated to a Nucleus, you can just get the designated hub, which can manage up to 100 APs at one time. So that could be a good solution for you there. Okay, so onto what's new and exciting. Couple of new wireless APs are now available. Both bits you can see in the slide are in stock and available to you guys out there, or will be so in the next week or two. It obviously takes a little bit of while for everything to get across the distribution. But on the top there, you can see the two new wireless APs, the DBA 3620, which is IP55, and then the DBA 3621, which is IP67 rated. So two great solutions there for your outdoor. Obviously, the IP67 one will be recommended if you're in a more extreme environment, or potentially a swimming pool area where it's going to be constantly wet, whereas your 3620 will suit any sort of outdoor cafe environment where it's just going to be subject to a normal amount of rain and weather conditions. And then below that, we've got the new 4x4 Wi-Fi 6 AP, which is pretty fast. I think a few of us want these installed in our home at the moment, Craig, as we're probably hearing. The AX3600 Wi-Fi 6 AP, which comes with a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port on it as well. So we're going to be doing a bigger roundup of our Wi-Fi 6 for business portfolio next week, and this is going to feature along with a few of the other new things. So we're going to talk about this one in more depth on the next webinar.
Absolutely, yeah. So just to give everybody a little heads up, it's a 4x4 access point that's on the AX platform. So it's a brand new Wi-Fi standard with the faster speed. So if you've got new devices or you think about a new install, definitely worth checking out.
And just to show that down here, just to show it into action, we have the new DBA 3620p outside, providing the Wi-Fi to your customers in your cafe. And then we've got the DBA 2520p, which is going to be working in unison with that inside the cafe. So Nucleus is the Wi-Fi solution for wherever you are, outdoors or indoors, no matter the weather, as the old saying used to be. So if we start to look at some of the sectors where we feel Nucleus is very, very relevant, education is one that we talk about quite a lot, because education has numerous challenges. And no matter the size of the school, there's always a common set of IT problems, whether they range from patchy Wi-Fi, slow internet connections, or black spots. The issue that we find when we talk to schools is that schools don't see this as a high enough priority pardon me, aren't seeing this as a high enough priority to get these problems fixed, and to actually look at the infrastructure behind providing their network, preferring to use short-term software patches or firmware updates, bits like that, rather than actually looking at and correcting the issues of the backbones of the network, etc. There's numerous new things that are happening in the schools, partly down to COVID, but also partly down to availability. AR and VR is becoming more prominent, and as we know, due to the current situation, there's been a spike in remote learning. Many universities are still going to be online for next year, meaning that they're going to be streaming, uploading, downloading, doing a lot more traffic running through their networks. So looking at a Nucleus solution, whether it be cloud or connect for education, could be a very good idea for these sorts of companies to look at the moment. Some of the other problems around schools, student and guest network accesses, network security and access control, and then limited budget. All of these are solved pretty well by Nucleus, because we our products tick pretty much all of the stuff you've got on there. We've got the latest security with WPA3. And as Craig mentioned earlier about the simplicity of managing the network, it's a lot easier with Nucleus than it was before.
Absolutely, and the thing with education is it's always very difficult to figure out who's in charge of what as well. Sometimes you might be an academy, or you might be doing it yourself even, and it's sometimes a case of working out where the budget is the most important, or how many devices that you can put in this year, and maybe you can flip over to next year's budget. With Nucleus, it's completely scalable. So what you can do is start actually thinking, well, because it's on the same platform, maybe I can have a few edge switches, and maybe I can have a few wireless access points in this area, and then next year with the next year's budget, then I can start moving it over. You don't have to worry about where it's implemented into the network. You don't have to worry about any kind of untold costs that are going to come with it, and you can be planning it and doing that phase on that as well. So it's much easier for that limited budget, and that's really where most of the problems lie when it comes to doing education installs, I think.
Yeah, and we can also mention at the same time, Craig, that we do have other financial solutions available with via our distribution network, where this kind of software can be purchased on a TAS agreement, like Tech as a Service. We won't go into that now, but if you do want more information on that, just drop us a line, and we'll go through it in more detail with you. So as we move on, very Americanized this school, as you might doubt, but Craig's going to briefly talk through the placement of APs, which I'm going to bring up now, and how it will maximize the signal across the campus here.
Yeah, so I think what we do at D-Link, certainly as our pre-sales team, we do wireless site surveys. So if you have an education kind of opportunity come up, absolutely give us a call. What we can do is have a free wireless site survey. So we'll join you on the day, walk around the school, and generally find out what kind of needs you have in the wireless sector, what kind of network topology you have, whether it needs refreshing, and then we can just do a complete list with some heat maps and actually do this for you live. If that's too much of an issue in terms of location, we can certainly look at virtual site surveys as well. So what we'll generally do is walk around the school and find out where these areas are that you would want to install the access points where it's in high use. Now with a school, depends on what kind of school it is, whether it's a primary school, might be lower level access points, might just be a few jotted around, or if it's a secondary school, generally we're looking at 3x3 or 4x4 access points that we put into it. So depending on what you're doing, some schools will walk around with minimal kind of internet needs. Some schools will have a lot of it where they walk around with Chromebooks and things like that. So it could very well be that there's 30 children in one of these classrooms, and those 30 children absolutely have to have their devices connected. Plus, you're including things like bring your own device as well. You throw that into the mix and you really start having a lot of network capacity that you need to account for.
Yeah.
So what we generally do with these access points is you can actually control the transmission power as well. Now, it might seem counterproductive to actually lower the transmission of an access point, but in fact, with a big school like this, or certainly if there's multiple floors, you actually want to do that, because what you want to do is you want an access point that covers the area that it's in. So those 30 children in that room, you want it covered. But if you broadcast outside of that room, then you have these channel overlapping as well. And when channels start to overlap, that's when problems can start to come in. You have too many SSIDs, too many broadcasts, it starts splitting down the amount of bandwidth that's in the area, and it actually causes more problems than it fixes. So making sure that you've got this platform that you can adjust these access points, walk around and have a look at what device is doing what, and then you can adjust things on the fly as well. Because it's Nucleus, it's all on a web browser, you walk around with your phone adjusting things as you go. You're able to use your phone to have a look at kind of the transmission that's in the area it's in. You can also think about the crossover point. So if you want to walk around the school and roam from access point to access point, you can actually have a look at that live and find out what's actually happening on your network, and then you can start accounting for where that crossover point should be. For example, minus 60 dBi, that's when you want it to kick you off that access point and go to the next one. And give it some time. What you'll be able to do is have an absolutely perfect working school where you can walk around the school, everyone's happy, everybody's able to get connected with none of those overlapping channels. That's something that you can do with Nucleus.
Is that problem reduced, Craig, with Wi-Fi 6 because of the BSS colouring that they talk about, the fact that the overlapping of networks isn't such a or access points in this case wouldn't be such a problem on Wi-Fi 6, or is that not?
No, it's absolutely true, Alan. There's a lot of new technologies that are introduced, especially when it comes to turning off a device and having that negotiation process between the access point and the client. So for example, if you've got a phone that's constantly trying to connect, then it's using channel bandwidth in the area. Whereas if it's powering off and only powering on at certain times, there's that small period of time where other devices are able to get connected as well. It limits the amount of connected clients at any given time. So all of these Wi-Fi 6 technologies are designed to deal with these high density environments as well, which is really useful.
So just in this example here, we've just placed access points around the map to make sure that each area is covered, and then we've put one of our exterior APs to cover the school grounds so that you can get connection while outside the DBA 3621, just in case there's some bad weather outside there to cover. We've pretty much got the whole school grounds here covered and looking good. So if we move on to the next example, then looking at small to medium businesses, there's more of a tolerance in business about Wi-Fi and not needing the super fast broadband connections, etc. Although that tolerance has become less lately, with most face-to-face meetings being cancelled and most stuff being done on Zoom or other platforms like that. So it's kind of it's very important for a small to medium business to make the most out of their IT budget. And we feel that Nucleus is great for that because of the options that we offer. Pardon me. And a lot of the stuff that you'll see on here, the challenges for SMB, they're the same as they were previously for education, but just in a maybe in a different hierarchy there. Small to medium businesses are very much going to be more limited by an IT budget as opposed to a school. It's not very often that a school will go out of business because they spend too much money on their networking stuff. So with a small to medium business, we've chosen to recommend Nucleus Connect as the option, particularly if you have existing D-Link APs in the office at the moment. When we talk about cloud and we talk about a lot of the advantages of Nucleus Cloud, a lot of it are to do with marketing, analytics, and you also have the ongoing cost of license fees there, which we're not sure that small to medium businesses would get the full advantage from, as opposed to certain other industries there. So we feel that Nucleus Connect could be the way to go for small to medium business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really easy to point out that Nucleus Connect is a software-based controller as well. So you can actually manage these access points with a simple piece of software that runs on any kind of Windows 10 device or Windows 7. And what you'll be able to do is manage as many access points as you require for that install. But you don't have to necessarily have a lot of access points to still get the use out of this software as well. You can only have 3 or 4 access points. It's still worth having a centralized controller for that. And if it's a free piece of software that runs on a device, then what's the difference? You might as well use that controller piece, so that if you do want to make any changes, it rolls out instantly across all of the access points at the same time. And then you can start having a look at what kind of traffic you've got. So when you have a software controller, you'll actually be able to see who's connecting where, how much throughput's actually being driven through that access point as well. And you can start thinking about, well, is that access point in the best place for me? Maybe if I move it, or maybe I need an extra access point somewhere else, it can start giving you this amount of logic as well. Again, what you can do is that little technique where you kind of reduce the power and have a couple of access points in those focused areas, so that you can get the best out of your network environment. And again, with this platform, AX is certainly something that we're driving home. Mm-hmm. But like Alan said, if you have some existing DAP access points that you've purchased over the last few years, luckily what we've done is taken a few of those access points, most of the recent ones certainly, upgraded the firmware so that it works with this new controller system. So look into that if you have any DAP access points, because it's really worth it, and you're not really losing anything other than a little bit of time just to upgrade the firmware and the software.
And it's keen to point out in this diagram that obviously the Wi-Fi coffee machine is the most important part of the office. So making sure that your access point is well placed to cover the coffee machine, I think, is absolutely key.
Absolutely, that cool area has to come.
Pardon me. Moving on to retail. So I've mentioned retail a couple of times already on the webinar, but we strongly feel that retail can really benefit from our Nucleus Cloud platform. The recent rules that came in on track and trace and all sorts of other reasons are why we would recommend Nucleus Cloud for this. Pardon me, for this environment. And Craig talked about it earlier, whether you have multiple stores or you just have the one branch, it doesn't really matter here, because they can all be managed through the one platform with your cloud-based AP, and can all be managed by the app by your existing IT team. So it provides some great functionality from that side of things, but also what the cloud platform brings in terms of analytics and marketing automation, which we're going to move on to in a few minutes, is the reason that we really recommend Nucleus Cloud for your retail site.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's worth saying that there's a few of us in the office that have got some of these access points that we've used through lockdown and straight afterwards as well. Now, if you imagine every person in the office would be, say, it might be a cafe store or a small retail chain somewhere else where it's just for that provisioning, what you're able to do is control all of these access points from a single screen using the same profiles if you want to. You can still limit each individual access point in terms of bandwidth control, quality of service. You can implement a lot of these features as well. And it's all focused, so you don't have to run around or look at different things. You don't have to be local to the device either. That's the beauty of it.
Here's your retail environment. So we're looking at this as one kind of let's just look at this as one kind of store. So you've got your various different departments there, all of which will be covered by the variety of access points that are placed around, and just making sure that everyone gets a good coverage, even up to the welcome desk up there. The last thing you want is somebody having to wait for service and they can't check their Twitter feed or their Instagram followers while they're waiting. So, yeah, I mean, similar to the other examples that we've used here, it's just a good placement of APs that will really allow people to be connected. Within the retail environment as well, we talked about on a previous webinar about how being on people's guest networks and all sorts of other things will enable you to use better technology to look at specific special offers, push messages out to your clients that are currently within the store, and all sorts of other bits like that, which will really help with the browsing experience and push people towards making purchases, which is kind of where a lot of marketing is going at the moment. So that real customer experience and improving that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a full range of access points on the Nucleus platforms, whether it's software or hardware, which means for high density environments, lots of clients that are connecting.
Yeah.
You get that reporting coming, and you also have an access point that's going to be able to handle that kind of load as well.
Very important, very important. Hospitality. So hospitality's been in the news quite a bit recently, as you may have seen, in regards to changes around the law where it comes to track and trace and other bits like that. Again, for this solution, we're recommending the Nucleus Cloud platform, and as previously with retail, the reason that we're doing that is because of the functionality around the marketing automation and the other bits, but also the track and trace thing, which has become very, very important to hospitality customers. So we pardon me. So we think that the cloud solution in this case, the extra bits that you get from being able to market, the track and trace options that you have available on there via the guest Wi-Fi, really makes Nucleus Cloud stand out as the solution of choice here. So if we have a quick look here, this is a pretty nice hotel. I wouldn't mind staying here. This looks pretty good. So we've placed some indoor access points across the map here to cover the reception area, to make sure that people can have their streaming whilst they're working out in the gym area. A couple more indoor placements, one to cover the kitchen and the restaurant area. It's becoming more important now to have staff with 4G or Wi-Fi enabled devices, because orders are being placed online or via apps, even within hotels at the moment. And then we've got the AP to cover the rooms at the top there, as well as one water resistant access point in the pool area to make sure that those people relaxing can get a nice signal without the access point being damaged by by water. I've probably put it a little bit too close to the shower in this map. Maybe don't put it quite so close to that much water, but
Yeah.
it is IP67, so it should be fine.
Yeah, it should be fine. Funny enough you say that, Alan. When you're in swimming pool areas like that, you also want to think about outdoor access points, even if it's an indoor swimming pool. Reason being, it's not just water, it's things like chlorine as well.
Yes.
Can really get into the circuits. If it's not an enclosed box, you'd be surprised how quickly that can degrade network equipment. So if you're working in chiller cabinets or anything like that, factories where you need wireless connectivity, but really an indoor access point isn't going to be good, certainly you can use an outdoor access point as well in that kind of environment.
To be honest, Craig, I had assumed that this pool was indoors, and I still did the outdoors, so I was completely along with your line of thinking there.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
So moving on to the analytics area that we've touched on, which is one of the major components, the major difference we feel with between the marketing on Nucleus Cloud and the marketing and the feature set that comes with Nucleus Connect. So what Nucleus Cloud really allows you to do is to basically monetize your guest networks in terms of producing a return on investment for the outlay of taking on setting up the cloud network to start with. As we all know, marketing is expensive, so really looking to utilize the everything that you can get from your network is paramount when it comes to this sort of activity. So when it comes to Nucleus Cloud, what we've done is we've kind of listened to a lot of the feedback that has come out about other cloud-based products that exist within this space. We fully acknowledge that we weren't first to market with this product, so we've used that time to fine tune and to build up some good relationships with external providers, which we'll move on to talk about in a slide or two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another important thing, Alan, is that additional time has allowed us to cater our cloud solution to our customers. So we're not going for other people's customers all the time.
Yeah.
We're going for our customers, people that know they come to D-Link because they know they want a quality device. They also want it to fit them. They don't want to pay for that extra over-the-top feature that they'll never use. And that value goes into the access point, you see. You start looking at things like layer 7 access points and firewalls on the AP. That won't be for us, perhaps, but you have that's a cost. So if you want to go for a cloud solution with those devices, you're going to be paying for that. So you'll get all of the beneficial features that you're actually going to use, and it's going to be in that zero-touch provisioning environment that we can give you with that SLA of 99% uptime all the time.
So when it comes to utilizing the analytics around your guest networks, we've looked, and there's probably 3 options out there in the marketplace. The first option is to do it yourself, which is obviously the cheapest solution, so that could be very good, but it could also lead to a high error rate and a poor customer experience out there. So we don't truly recommend the DIY option, because there's a big advantage in the added analytics that you can get when you pay for it. It will just allow that extra error of accuracy that will stop some of the poor customer experience. So targeting people for the wrong products, for the wrong time, etc., will really be cut down if you choose to do something better than doing it yourself. The built-in solutions. So there are built-in solutions into Nucleus Cloud. But they don't integrate directly with your point of sale systems or your CRM systems, and they won't implement directly with your marketing solutions, such as your email provider. So what and then outside of that, we've got traditional captive portal companies, which a lot of them can be very expensive and a lot of them can be overcomplicated, which will put a number of people off. They don't all have great transparency, and they tend to potentially over recommend what you need. There's no great solution. A captive portal can be very cost prohibitive for a small business. So what we've done here at D-Link is we've actually partnered up with free captive portal providers, and we hope that we will be able to work with more as we move forward. But we've got a good range of on here of some pretty a pretty very, very large, well-recognized customer down to a much smaller option of a more local provider.
Yeah, absolutely. And captive portal part is really where Nucleus Cloud shines. We've put a lot of development work in it. It's ongoing work as well. We're continuing to improve the platform. But if you are in that hospitality sector and you are someone that introduces captive portals into installations, this is something that's really going to interest you. It's really nice and easy to use. You can absolutely customize your own captive portals within the device itself. You don't have to use third parties for a lot of the features. So you can use HTML and just build your own site and have your login, and that login will work with social media like Facebook and Google and some others as well. And you can connect those up to existing Radius servers and adaptive portals, and even walled garden as well. So walled garden will allow you to create this kind of intranet network where you can install it and visit some websites without authentication. So you've got that kind of interactive portal page that someone logs on before they break out to the internet. So it's a lot of work going into it. We're very proud of it at the moment, and we're continuing to build it.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of small businesses out there that provide a Wi-Fi, I guess, network for their clients, but they just they really don't know how to capitalize on the data. I think that's fair enough to say. There could be worries about GDPR. There could be worries about cost, and like I said, some people just might not know how to do it. So the free experts that we picked on this page, they can really help out. And I've got it on good authority that subscriptions in this area are very low. Some start as low as €10 per month. So not at all cost prohibitive if you do this via us and via Nucleus Cloud solution. So moving on to track and trace. Again, we've mentioned track and trace a couple of times. All three solutions that we saw previously, this screen here is from Stampede. All three solutions provide a track and trace. They're all track and trace enabled, as it were. So they can all provide you with the QR codes that are necessary to follow people around who have been in your business, capture those people's details, and then in the event of an outbreak, if you have email integration set up, the whole thing would be automatic. So you have a case, and then everyone who was on your guest network at that time would receive an email alert that something had happened. Okay, so the solution via Nucleus Cloud it all stems from providing customers with a bespoke Wi-Fi solution. So, but the true advantage of the cloud is that you can then guide that data seamlessly into your marketing funnel, and that's what each of the three providers do here. And then once they're in your marketing funnel, you can boost re-engagement, upsells, and loyalty. So just thinking of a few examples of that. If for instance you're staying in a hotel, that might seem kind of far-fetched at the moment, but let's imagine that we aren't quite living under the restrictions we are at the moment. But if you are staying in a hotel, you settle down into your room, you sit down and you think, what am I going to do? All of a sudden, you've signed on to the guest network and you get an alert on your phone that your first drink in the bar is free, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to head down to the bar. And most of the time you're going to stay for more than one drink in the bar. And then the time rolls around to 7 p.m. and you get an alert that the restaurant in the hotel is doing a free starter. So you think, I've had a couple of drinks. I'm just going to eat in the hotel here. So you can you just amble over to the restaurant and take advantage of their free starter. And these are the sort of solutions that it's absolutely possible to build when you get these customers into your marketing funnel. Same for people who maybe haven't been to the cafe in a few days. You can send them a 50% off their next latte. Bits and bobs like that. But this sort of marketing, this sort of engagement that you can get via Nucleus Cloud and our free suppliers is it's a really great solution out there. So okay. And as I've said, I mean, we've talked about the free options so much here, but just to go through you've got Purple Wi-Fi, you've got Stampede, and you've got Fidelia. They all offer a solution that covers everything that we've talked about today. They all offer track and trace. They all have different subscriptions and options and flexible pricing. I'm not here to say which one of them is best and which one I'd use, but they're all great options and they all do exactly what it says on the tin. So if you go with any of these three, you know you're in safe hands, and we are looking at adding more people, maybe more local providers to this as we move forward and continue to develop the product. Okay, Craig briefly mentioned MSPs earlier in the webinar. MSPs are an area in which D-Link is looking to grow and has grown over the past few months. So we launched the D-Link MSP program back in March, and it's been a great success for us so far. A number of people have signed up with us to become an MSP to resell our Nucleus solutions. If anybody on the call wants to talk to us about this a little bit more, then feel free to drop us an email or drop us a question in the side chat if you've got anything to ask. But the D-Link, the major advantage of the D-Link MSP program is that we will automatically upgrade you to a gold partner. So everything that you get as a gold partner, big discounts, a 12% discount on your purchases, a priority registration, D-Link round invitations to D-Link round tables, all the webinars, all the training, all the benefits there. We will give this to you if you register with us for an MSP. The only proviso that we put in place is that we have a business plan, because obviously we don't want to just give this away for nothing. We need people to engage with us. We need people to actively go out there and talk and sell Nucleus on our behalf. And if you do become an MSP, we're also happy to talk to you about MDF. So we can provide you with marketing development funds, again, as long as we know how and where that money is going to be spent. So really worth engaging with us on the MSP. We did do a webinar a few months ago on this, Craig, if you remember, all that time ago in season 1.
Oh my goodness, so long ago.
Yeah, so long ago we did. So it might be worth your time reinvesting, going back to look at that. I'll link to it from the show notes on this on YouTube if anyone wants to follow back to that. But yes, talk to us about the MSP program. We'll do what we can to get you on board and become a Nucleus reseller on our behalf. Pardon me. Sorry, I'm getting a bit croaky here. Couple of offers on at the moment. They're only available for the next few days until the end of September, but we will be working to renew them for Q4 because they've been pretty successful for us. So the first option is 3 years free license with Nucleus Cloud. So you get a year with Nucleus Cloud already. And then if you buy any access point, we give you an additional 3 years license. So in total, that's 4 years of licensing in the box of the product. I'm not sure what the cost of the licensing is, Craig, but I know it's a good saving. Is it about 50 to 60 pounds for a year's license, or?
It is, yeah. It does vary on obviously how many access
Sure.
points purchasing. What I would like to say quickly though is, and this is really just an observation of the current market and how other vendors sell. With our cloud access point and our cloud services that we do, an access point is considered an access point, so it doesn't matter what kind of model that you have as well. So one license per access point, whether it's a 2x2 or a 4x4 access point with a high density or tri-band, and all the features on top, you'll only be paying that one standard price, and it's the same for our switches as well.
Brilliant. Nucleus Connect, if you purchase 4 indoor APs or 2 outdoor APs, we'll give you the Nucleus Connect hub for free. So get started on Nucleus Connect and have the easy management that we mentioned earlier. You don't need to have a dedicated desktop for it. You can take advantage of this offer and get the hub to manage up to 100 APs for free with that. So two very good offers, and I expect they'll both be available again in Q4 as we move on. So now on to something that's new for season 2 of the webinars. We are offering discounts on the products that we talk about on the webinar from now on, because we really want people to get out there. So as you probably saw with the poll earlier, 50% of the people on the call have used Nucleus before, and other people haven't used it or use other cloud managed solutions. And we really want to spread Nucleus far and wide. So we want to offer this to anybody who's listening to the webinar, to come to us on the email address there, uki-sales@delink.com, and just talk to us about obtaining one of these access points so you can have a play with it, so you can really see what the product is all about. And we'll be obviously doing that at a very, very discounted rate, as you can see on your screen there. The prices are in euros, so depending on what the exchange rate is, you can pick up one of our 2620 access points, which is Nucleus Connect. That's the hotel one, if I'm correct there, Craig. I think I am.
Correct, yes. So it comes with RJ45 and an RJ11 pass-through on that model. It's designed to be put into maybe the hotel room that you're actually staying in. So it's a small broadcast that comes out, and then you'd have a phone tied to it as well for that customer service option ringing down to the desk. Yeah.
So a great option for Connect there. Then we've got the Nucleus Hub and the 1210, which is the 2x2 Nucleus option. But if you wanted to discuss any other products, so anything else Nucleus, we're more than happy to offer these sort of rates to you for just to get more and more people using Nucleus and on the platform. Okay, that's about it from us. You got anything last to add, Craig, there before we let the people go and end this initial episode of season 2?
I think we've covered it. I think there's a couple of questions that we might need to address, Alan, if you have a look.
Okie doke.
So one of these questions is, where can I buy the Nucleus products?
I'm having a slight problem with the question box, Craig. Could you?
No problem. I'll just read them out. So, like I said, where can I buy the Nucleus products? Is one of the questions.
I mean, you can take your choice of places to buy from. It's whichever reseller is your favourite. I think Dean from Deco is recommending Deco solutions on here, which is definitely something we can echo. But if you are a reseller, then they will be available from the free distributors that we use, so Ingram Micro, Exertis, or Tech Data. So any of those. Or if you are an end user, then you can talk to Deco Solutions. But without being biased, there are other companies out there in the marketplace. So anybody who's an official D-Link reseller will be able to help you out there. You can also buy them on the e-tail platforms if you're comfortable with doing it yourself without talking to one of our highly trained salespeople. So,
Absolutely.
Craig, I think the next one's for you. Looks a little bit technical for me, but can one of the CP providers work with Nucleus Connect or even DWC controllers? We talked about this yesterday, didn't we? So yeah, we did talk about this yesterday.
We did, yes. So yes and no actually is the answer, and I'll explain that a little bit more. The Nucleus Connect platform, it can absolutely work with those providers. In fact, I've had conversations with some of the people that work there. We've worked together on the Nucleus Connect portfolio just to make sure that we can use their services. Yes, you can. Not for every single feature like the Nucleus Cloud, though. Nucleus Cloud does have some specific features like walled garden, and it ties in a little bit more easily into the accounting, but Nucleus Connect, yes. What, however, will be the issue for a couple of people out there might be, especially if you're using DWC controllers, which would be our DWL access points, is that how it integrates that captive portal side. Their DWCs are aging a little bit, I would say, in the captive portal area. They are more of a legacy item at the moment. What I would say is that some of the access points might not necessarily be able to URL redirect you to the right URL for the captive portal. So it does depend on the hardware you're using. It's not the DWC itself, it's depend on the access point. So if it's a really old access point, there might be a few issues. If it's a newer access point for the DWC controllers and the Nucleus Connect software, yes, you'll be able to use that the same way. But like I said, there are a few features on Nucleus Cloud which are unique to that portfolio. We've done a lot of work on that side of things for our hospitality sector. So if you are really interested in Captive Portal, I would definitely recommend having a look at the Nucleus Cloud solution.
Yeah, echoed. And as I said, we did talk about this yesterday, Craig, didn't we? Or was it Friday? I think it was quite funny that it came up. So just to end the webinar there, as I said, we're back next week. Season 2 continues. You may have noticed in the handouts portion there is a copy of the webinar which we're going to be doing from now on. So we're going to be providing the presentation that we did in a PDF format. If you needed any more information or you wanted it in a PowerPoint format, you can just drop us an email if you wanted to make changes. That's available. You'll also receive an email with a copy of the video, so you can listen to myself waffle on again, or you can listen to Craig's technical excellence again if you so choose, if you're of that thing. I would just mention to anybody, if you can't make future webinars, please do sign up for them, because as I said, we will email you a copy of the presentation and you'll get the webinar so that you can listen to it in your own time. Don't not sign up because you can't make it to the session live. So I think that's very important. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be doing Wi-Fi 6 for business. So we'll be going through the access points that we talked about earlier, the Nucleus Connect access points. We have a unified wireless access points. And we'll be touching on a few bits in and around there, and the advantages of Wi-Fi 6, etc. Because we did that back in March, and obviously 6 months have moved on, so there have been some developments in that area. Then in about 4 weeks' time, Craig is going to be doing a highly technical network redundancy webinar, I believe, Craig. So I'll be able to rest my voice on that one, and everyone who joins will be able to learn a lot.
Yes, it's an opportunity for me to confuse everybody, as many people as I can. So I'm looking forward to that.
Should we perhaps provide a certificate for anybody who can answer any questions on that one, Craig? Maybe we'll do a little quiz afterwards on that, and anybody who answers it can get a certificate. So
Sounds good.
yeah, well, I've just taken advantages of all these new functionality that we've got on the webinar. So all good. Okay, just to note, the details are on the screen there. As usual, go to our website, eu.dlink.com. Give us a call on 0208 955 9000 if you want to discuss Nucleus or any D-Link product. If you want to arrange a more intense session on either Nucleus Connect or Cloud, Craig is more than happy to take you through the interface and give you a demo of the product. If you want to talk about the MSP platform, you're probably better off talking to myself or one of the salespeople. Or alternatively, just drop us an email, uki-sales@dlink.com. That goes to everyone in the team, so we'll make sure that your correspondence gets to the right department. Thanks to everyone for joining. Hopefully we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, everyone.